this is Candace. Welcome to day 50 of my 100-day health challenge. I am at the halfway mark and it is amazing. I have hit my goal, everybody. Woo! It has been a fight to get here. And, but you know what happened? I was sharing so much stuff last night, but I have smashed the barrier of 370 pounds and I am below it. Yes. I am below 370. And even if it is not super far down, it is amazing. I have gone beyond it and now I know I can, and now I cannot wait for the next big step in this journey. So yeah, I am super excited. Day 50. Oh my gosh, guys, there are so many feelings here. Today has been such a whirlwind of a day that it's kind of fun to just sit here and actually get to celebrate. Celebrate 50 days, a halfway mark in this journey for multiple reasons. This is the longest I have fully stuck with multiple goals in a long time and felt confident in them, even in the struggles, have been showing up every single day. So obviously this is really good for me because it has kept me. So thank you all. I mean, I don't know how many of you are watching. Well, I kind of do and I kind of don't, but to be honest, even if there's a single one of you watching, and even if it's just family and friends, but I hope others, you're getting things out of this too. But I have got to thank you because this has been my inspiration to show up every single day. If there is one person watching my video, then it inspires me to be here. And yes, that's bad in one sense of that I'm not just showing up totally for myself. That has improved. I am getting better at that. I am getting better of seeing myself as worthy of showing up for. But I will say that what pushes me, what drives me is you all. To show up and think that maybe something I say today will encourage one of you. Even if it's that one person that needs to be there that day and hear what I have to say. If there's 30 or 40 people, whatever it may be, you inspire and drive me to persevere. And then through that, finding a reason outside myself has kept me going. But then now I am learning this confidence. And I'm continually learning, continually growing this confidence in myself and seeing myself as worthy to be here and continue to do this, even if it's just me watching it. If there are no views, I am now to that point of, oh my gosh, I am worth it, and let's keep going. So that's a huge celebration for one. And again, this is probably the longest in a long time that I have been gradually adding changes, but keeping those changes. And even on the bad days, even on the days where I've slipped up, drank things I shouldn't have, didn't do the movement, was sick a week, all these different things. So even in the joyful, celebratory moments, and even in the crappy, I don't want to be here moments, I have stuck with it. And so I am on day 50, man, y'all, I cannot wait. I am gonna kill this all the way through day 100 and then beyond that, because that's the whole point. So I just am excited. I'm filled with this, just oh my gosh, I did it. And I know it's not all me because there have been days where I was like, oh my gosh, I don't want to do this. First day, I don't want to video myself. I don't want to put myself out there. What if I just record it? What if I do a podcast instead? And I'm like, no, you know what? You got to get out there. You got to do something. You got to push beyond the boundary. And man, you know what? I am loving this. And even on the days where I'm like, oh shoot, I got to video something. And I'm like 2-minute video of hi, I'm here. And then I got to talk. And then I got to go to bed. I'm and I am a little spastic right now. I am woo, I'm in this mode of oh my gosh, boom, I made it. But it seriously, it literally is this moment of, I don't even know. It's even in the audio moments of still showing up, still purposefully making a video, even if my face wasn't in it for technical difficulties or just being sick. The fact that I can honestly say I have showed up every single day to do the work, to be here, even if it was 2 minutes, even if it's 10 minutes, even if it was 40 minutes, or one day not wanting to upload and it's like 5 hours before it uploaded, or the days where it technically uploaded after midnight because it was being so slow. And so it has been a whirlwind, but I am feeling so just overwhelmingly in awe of this blessing. I am so thankful to be here. I did not see myself here last year. I wanted to see myself here, but I have gone through some major breakthroughs. I mean, I've gone through some major breakthroughs just in the last few years, but the things how far I have come over the spring, summer, and into fall, it's amazing. And these have been some of the hardest and toughest times. I've had some of the most physical trouble I've had in a long time. I've had some of the most emotional and mental struggles I've had in a long time. I mean, I had COVID so I got over COVID within the 2 weeks, but then I had lingering, just drained exhaustion for 4 or 5 weeks after. I literally lost almost 2 months of my summer as far as being able to actually get things done like I wanted. And I was in the middle of a move, so I moved back into another place. The fourth move in the last 3 years. Like I said, I had COVID, actually tested positive, had the really bad kind of one that had been going. I mean, I'm not belittling any of the others, but it's just this one was this was one of the first times that I tested positive with the respiratory stuff and the really bad respiratory stuff. And so that I was pretty confident that it was actually what it was, and had that for 2 weeks, and then was literally drained out for another 4 weeks. Got literally my first day back was, I think, was the first day of in-service. I couldn't even help out at church that weekend, and I barely made it in for in-service, and I was exhausted and so done at the end of the day. But I made it. And so, and then my dog, my beautiful little baby, lost her in May. There's been so many things going on in my family, and so many things just so for me to be here at this moment is incredible. And I'm so thankful for it. It is such a blessing in the midst of what has been a roller coaster and often crappy year. It is my grace that's been given to me right now. And I've had some just amazing people step up beside me and come into my life, be led into my life. Some who were already here, who have just been that much more of a blessing in my life, to come alongside and to challenge and to encourage and convict me, to walk with me, to cry with me, to laugh with me, to just be there in the valley, in that low moment in between climbing these big mountains of life. And yeah, it's just, it's incredible to be here right now. And I can't even wait to see what comes next, because I literally have lost, technically I added it up in officially right now. I'm going to do another weigh-in because I'm curious. So what I'm doing is I'm also comparing my two scales to see which one is the most. By the way, the one downstairs that I used last night is accurate. It is off a little bit from what the other one is, but that's expected. But I am actually going to I'm just kind of trying to calibrate and see how much far they seem to be off. But the cool thing about it is that officially I have at the minimum, I have lost 25 pounds, which was my day 50 goal, was to have that full total weight loss of 25. Technically, I've lost more because I was even less, or I had even more weight off of me yesterday. And I will say that, so that was an incredibly surprising yesterday to actually gain a little bit back, because I made the terrible mistake. Well, this is not the mistake. I went and got coffee and the coffee was great. But instead of going with my instinct and my common sense and getting a cold brew coffee with maybe a little bit of flavoring or just even plain, I decided to get, as my dad would put it, a frou-frou coffee drink with the frou-frou frosting and all the fancy schmancy stuff. And I gave myself such sugar sickness. Oh my gosh. I'm really glad it didn't hit till a little bit later, but it was there. It was sugar stomach, sugar sickness. And I can legitimately say that because even as I was drinking it, it was like that stubborn, stinking mentality we have where it's like, I can't waste it though because I just bought it and I paid all this money for it and I drank it, so now nobody else is going to drink it, so I got to drink it. I got to finish it. I can't just throw it away. And it's like, dang it, why did I not just throw the thing away? Because I drank a certain amount of it, or even I did have friends who probably would have taken it. I mean, technically I know, it's like, I don't do that, but it's like, I did have some people who would have been fine to like open it, like take the straw out and just have the cup and have their own straw. That would have been okay. But I didn't, I was stubborn. And so I had this pumpkin spice, or no, it wasn't even pumpkin spice. What it was what was it? Well, it was a mocha. It was a local type of mocha, kind of a fall spiced mocha, but it was so sugary. And I don't know if that's just, I know in part it's because I have pretty much cut out most sugar, but also because it had the syrup, and I even got it without whipped cream. And man, that thing was so syrupy and so sweet and just over the top. And that definitely made me sick at one point. Not like sick throwing up, but like just stomach feeling. And it was definitely that because the food that I ate, I guess I also did have a little bit of non-gluten-free breakfast bread with the sandwich I got, and I probably should just got the gluten-free one. But it was all right, actually. That didn't really bother me so much. And I had a good like breakfast bread, the pumpkin one with like the dark chocolate chips, and it was a really good one. And they have lots of gluten-free and other options and stuff. And so, but then I had that, and then I actually had a healthier, on my way back to go check on the puppies again one last time before they were going to come home later in the afternoon, evening. I stopped again for coffee, and this time I got a cold brew, and all I did was get pumpkin flavoring. So it was a pumpkin spice cold brew, not sweet. The syrup was not sweet at all. It was barely there, but it was this beautiful, just strong, clear, smooth cold brew taste with this pumpkin and these little powdery cinnamon swirls in it, and it was just, it was amazing. And then I got a gluten-free sandwich this time and some bread, and it was just, it was perfect. And even with that, the bread was still very carb heavy, and the coffee was still pretty heavy, and the caffeine definitely was not the best option before, in the time it was, to keep me awake and everything. But I definitely know that the one drink did not help. So I got to watch that because I was like, oh, it won't be a big deal. And then it was like overwhelmingly sweet, and it made me sick. So anyways, that was a thing. But I did pretty well overall on that. And I don't even remember where I was going with that. I think it was just literally checking in on like how things went. But why I gained back a few pounds over yesterday today. But overall, actually I haven't even officially weighed myself in again because I weighed myself this morning, but I am really curious to see what I am right now. Just one for the scales comparison because I'm weighing in on both, but also just to kind of see, I'm curious the difference between weighing in the morning and the night, because usually I weigh myself in the morning, and it's good to stay consistent because that kind of gives you a better gauge of a full 24-hour cycle. And so I typically do it in the morning because when I wake up, that's when I've got some energy, I'm still relaxed, but I'm getting up and I haven't really done a whole lot yet. And so I usually, get up, go to the bathroom, get some water, take my supplements, first ones, and then weigh myself in. And then usually, but if I'm going to take a shower, I usually take it after I weigh in just so I don't slip and slide on the scale because it's a glass one that can get slippery. And I also just don't want to damage it. So, but anyways, so that's kind of where I'm at on that. One thing I did want to talk about today, because I think it's relevant, and I think this is something that I am incredibly happy that I've learned over the last 50 days. So I guess maybe that's what kind of where I want to start right now, is just what have I learned over the last 50 days? Ooh, that's a lot. And it's also some things that I was surprised and some things that I totally wasn't. I guess touching back on the two things I just talked about. One, I have learned that, and I knew this before, but it's funny when you actually start to apply it to various areas of your life, not just one single area or, a few. When you start to apply it to other areas too, it's amazing how you kind of have to go back to learning again, like learning back in the very beginning, and applying things all over again. And I think that's why it's an amazing journey in life, is we never stop learning and never stop applying what we've learned. But anyways, the why and the motivation is critically important. I mean, it is literally, it can be fatal to your plans and goals. Now our goals flux and change anyways. We face obstacles. We have things that are crazy and crappy and wonderful and all these things that we cannot predict whatsoever. And ultimately, that is where your concrete, flexible, but your obvious, clear why comes in, because, or you're even just your motivation and inspiration. So I would say the strong reasons behind why you do what you do is a key component, because I can tell you there have been so many days in this challenge that I have not wanted to show up, where I was literally sitting there staring at my phone for on and off for like hours, thinking, I'm just going to wait until 10. I'm going to wait till 10:30. I'm going to wait till 11. All right, it's 11:30. I got to film. I got to get this up. And so then it would have been so easy to just not do it. Then there were other days where it's like I would get so excited and I would do something early on, and then I would run out of time, and it was like, oh, dang it, I can't even finish what I want to do. How am I going to do this? How am I going to have time? What if it's not up by midnight? And it's like, well, but I've done the work. I just need to get it up there. So who cares if it's after midnight? If it's technically, I filmed it on the day, I did the work, and sure, it's up a little bit after midnight or, whatever, but it's like, you know what, that's, I got it up there, because those are all excuses to keep me from doing what I know I should be doing. And so I think that's the first thing I learned was just the critical importance of the why, the motivation, the inspiration, the reason behind what you're doing and why you're doing it. Second, as I was talking about the weighing in and the consistency, it's not even so much the weighing in, because for some people that's detrimental to weigh in every day. To me, I've actually found it to be both a disappointment and an incredible encouragement. Ultimately, for me, it's been an encouragement for the most part. I will say 80% of the time it is an encouragement. And yes, some would say, well, but what about, like, why do it if there's 20% chance it's not? Well, because ultimately it helps me be realistic and to track what's having an effect, what's not having an effect, why things are responding the way they do. But whether or not you do that, because some people should not be weighing themselves. Literally, for their health, they should not be weighing themselves, because it can create such mental and emotional stress that you will give up and you won't do it, and it'll be damaging to you. So that is not me saying do this. This is just saying this is what works for me, and I even experimented with it to see if I could continue doing it. But if there's other things that work best for you, do it. So, but that's what I'm saying is consistent habits and consistent, or I should say even consistent tracking, because this was my way to consistently track what's going on and what might be causing this change. Like, why am I supposedly gaining 10 pounds in one day? Why am I supposedly losing only 0.2 pounds in this day? Like, what if I went here and then here and then here and then here? Was there a pattern of something I did or didn't do that day that may have caused that? Was there some mental or emotional stress? Did I eat something that I shouldn't have? Or did I eat, what I should have? Or what if I lost a bunch of weight, but that was the week I was sick, and do I really want to lose that weight? So maybe this gaining back right after that is actually a good thing. So ultimately, again, consistent tracking, consistency in general, consistency is key. But consistent tracking or monitoring of some form or another is going to be critically important too. Then let's talk about social health for a moment here. So I talked about the importance of spiritual health yesterday. Today, I want to talk about social health because social health was a huge part of my day today. And one of the reasons I was a little tired when I got home and was debating whether or not I was even going to be able to do my video in the spirit I wanted to. And then, of course, I had a talk with myself and also listened to an amazing podcast that just totally refreshed and renewed me and challenged me. And was just beautiful and amazing, and some really thought-provoking things that just reminded me of a lot of the reason why I'm here, and why I'm doing things like this. And where could I go from here with it too? That was the other thing. It was inspiration for the 100 and beyond. Well, anyways, so social health. Let me tell you, we all interact with humans. We're all flawed and broken and different and unique. And we have unique experiences and personalities and characteristics and jobs and all these things. But ultimately, when these people interact with these people, there's going to be parts where you get along, and there's going to be parts where you butt heads and you tension. And so it's inevitable. We literally are very rarely ever at peace with everybody. And even if we're at peace with people, sometimes they're not at peace with us. So it's not always a personal choice of being peaceful. Sometimes it's also dealing with other people who don't want to be peaceful towards you. And so but also along with that, social health, relational health is also critically important. We are made to be in community. We thrive in community. And even if there are exceptions to the rules, and even some of the most monastic, separated from society and worldly life, even those people still have the necessity or the opportunity or the inevitability to interact with people in one way or another, even if it's not in the same way that everybody else does. So there's really there is no way to avoid humans in this journey we call life, at least not when you're born. And probably when you're growing up, you don't really have a choice in the interactions that you have. You can choose things as an adult, but that doesn't mean that you don't have scars and celebrations and lessons from social interactions. And it doesn't mean that you don't have to look at the health and how that's going now. So one thing I would say first about this is that there is a beautiful positive and negative balance with this. Like I said, with the positive, we are made to thrive in community, to get along together, to grow each other, inspire each other, motivate each other, challenge each other, and to teach each other. I may have even said that one already, but literally all these things we are designed to work together towards. And so it's a beautiful thing. It's also, we don't want 50 of one of us. We want 50 different individuals. Now, yes, we can be a collective group. We can have our own culture. We can have our own ways of doing things, but those don't necessarily have to be separate from everything everyone else does. And we're, so it's this beauty of family and friends and community. There's also the dark side of that, of this kind of how much it can damage us when our community rejects us, when we don't have a community, when we lose one community and are struggling to find another, when we feel like we're ripped out of a community that we don't have a choice about, when we're put in a community we didn't really necessarily want. Maybe it's with jobs. With the people you interact with, some may be amazing and some may try your patience every 5 seconds of the day. Let me tell you, as a teacher, and if you are a teacher, I hear you. But this is in any situation, but think about it from this perspective. As a teacher, I interact with administration, board, coworkers, students, families, all in the range outside, like all the different staff that's required, all the different visiting people, both speakers and educational visitors, but also, official visitors, and, for example, health department and the things that are all part of being at school and being a teacher, but that we have to also interact with, and those interactions can be positive and negative. So with that, it can be so overwhelming because we have to navigate these situations. And I think it's incredibly important for us to remember that never, ever, ever compromise your health for other people. I'm not talking about the concept of, giving your time and your energy and making some self-sacrifice, because love is sacrificial. Love is demonstrated through this loving people no matter what they've done, but also just this self-sacrificial, willing to give up the pettiness, willing to give up when someone's hurt us, things like, and I mean, I'm broad stroking this, right? This is a generalization, and this is only in one area, but basically what I'm saying is that how to even put this? Like, my thoughts are all over the place, but we do not need to compromise that health in light of other people. So we can be self-sacrificing, and we can show love through, sacrificing some of our time to love our families, and taking time to take that extra hour to help a coworker, to do overtime, to do unpaid time. I mean, there's things that we can healthily do. We do need to find that balance, because ultimately the other side of that, though, is that when it comes to relationships, it can be so easy to want to be a people pleaser, to do everything for people, to the point where you're no longer just self-sacrificing. You've literally sacrificed your entire self completely and can't even help everybody else. You sacrifice your ability to also help other people and to be a blessing in that way. So why am I talking about it? So today's been interesting. I've had some interactions with both students and parents where it's like, the day's been going so well. Why do I have to have this interaction right now? Like, why do we have to have this negative moment in this beautiful day? And it's like, I love you. I don't feel like it always. And I'm not trying to be mean. I'm not trying to be harsh. It's just literally there are times where it's hard to love people because you clash. And it's in that moment where it's also important to realize that, yeah, you can love a person and not like what they do, but don't compromise your own sanity and health to sacrifice so far. So if someone is doing something that you need to call out, and you're afraid you're going to offend them and it's going to create tension and conflict, and some people are terrified of conflict, and if you've always seen yourself as a peacemaker or something, and that terrifies you, what we have to realize is sometimes you do have to put your foot down. Sometimes you have to just stop and look and say, no, this is not okay. I respect you. We're going to have a conversation, but not letting it go. Not letting it go, not ignoring it, not pushing it down under and saying, oh, this won't bother me. This doesn't affect me. I'll just let it go. There's a fine line. Yes, letting it go can actually be helpful for your health instead of holding on to these grudging feelings and this resentment. But to let it go when you need to actually deal with it can be just as much of a festering wound, and it can infect how we feel in our mental and emotional health, and then, of course, our physical health. Along with that is to realize at the end of the day, if you have 2 or 3 negative interactions, yeah, those stick out in our memories, but think about the other 60 interactions you might have had that were positive. Let's say you had 30 negative interactions with people, but then you had 1 positive. Can we try to help ourselves focus on the positive? Can we try to spin it back around so that we look at the things that are going to positively encourage us? I would say that I have learned these last couple of years especially, to just really be willing to say no when I need to not stretch myself so far over these things, trying to do everything and help everyone to where it's damaging my health, and then I can't even do the other things I have on my schedule and want list, and to be able to help people and all these things. So I guess kind of talking about that, I want to share more about this, but I'm looking at the time and I'm like, okay, I don't want to hold you all hostage forever here watching this video. But I did just want to share a little bit about social health. Like I kind of shared about spiritual health and spirit last night. But I also, with the 50-day check-in and some of the things I wanted to share, I ran out a little bit of time, but I'll share more tomorrow. But I guess I'm just saying that when it comes to relational health, one, don't let it ruin your day. Don't let it ruin your day. And don't let it ruin your evening. So if you have to go and totally separate yourself, go watch a movie, go listen to music, go play a game, go read a book, go draw, whatever it may be, do it. Don't let it fester. Do not let it hurt you. Do not let it push you into stressing or anxiety. Don't let it affect you past the moment. Deal with it, yes. If that means you let it go for the sake of your own health and because the situation requires it, that's okay. If, however, you need to not let it go, you need to actually confront it and face it in a healthy and respectful way, then do that. So I would just say be discerning, try to really gauge which one's going to be best for you in that moment. And we tend to know ourselves pretty well. We just don't like to admit it. So let's be honest with ourselves. Is this a place where I really need to say no? Is this a place where I really need to say, I'm sorry, I can't? Or is this a place where we're facing some other sort of thing? And with social health, it can be tricky because we don't like to hurt our friends or families, or being perceived as that we're hurting people or whatever. And sometimes the unfortunate truth is that because we all often don't get along and don't agree, there's going to be inevitable tension and inevitable conflict. And that doesn't mean that it's the end of a relationship, or it doesn't need to be the end of a relationship. So I would just say, take out this doomsday feel, this fear that if I say no, if I confront people, that it's going to damage things so badly that they'll never want to talk to me again, and then I'll never have any other friends. Because sure, a relationship could be damaged when you choose your own health. But if that person was being so detrimental to your health that it's actually better and a relief for you when you let that go, doesn't mean you can't ever let them back in, but maybe that's a good moment to actually let it go. Let them go and heal. And on the flip side of that, maybe it's time to open up and let someone back in. I don't know. I don't know what your situation is. I don't know what it looks like, but I do know that social and relational health can absolutely kill you with stress, anxiety, fear, these feelings of rejection, these feelings of loneliness. Some of the number one reasons people pass away when they're isolated is because they lose hope, because they don't have people around them. They don't have a purpose and a reason to live. They don't have people to live with and to process with. And so I would just say be very careful paying close attention to your emotional and to your social and relational health, and how that relates to emotional and mental health, and then of course spiritual health. And so I would just encourage you to do that. And yeah, I just want to check in today. I'm going to share a lot more tomorrow. I know this is getting long, so I'm going to cut it off right here. But you guys are awesome, and I'm just so excited about day 50. This is amazing. I am so blessed to be here in this moment, to have hit my goal, and I cannot wait to share with you just where I'm going from here. And I am still waiting to get my 25-day reward, but I have plans for my 50-day reward. And as soon as I have my 25 one, I'm going to show you, but also I'm going to tell you more about my 51. I got to work some logistics out and figure out how this is going to go, but I'm super excited. So you all are awesome. I hope you have a great evening. Bye.